myself to be pretty loose with the marks that I put down. I want to have some areas where the blue might be a little bit more intense. The building I'm doing is a very old building in the city that I live in, and by very old palette, it's a sketch pad that I've got over here to the side, and it allows me to kind of mix up the colors beforehand, and this is the color I'm mixing up right now. Renderers out there make a very good living creating watercolor paintings of buildings that are yet to be built. Or maybe it's just because it's drying and the water is a little bit shiny, but you should know it's just slightly a bit darker than what you're seeing on your screen. Again, that's blue, brown, and green mixed together. So now I'm going to go back and hit some of these areas where it's really shadowed. Start addressing some of the other areas that are pretty dark on the house, like this side of the roof right here. Watercolor is still wet. It's even easy to fix things after your watercolor's dried a bit. Just add a little bit of water to it. Reactivate it. It's important to kind of get your perspective right too, because if you're off a little bit, it'll be very obvious. What I'm looking for here, kind of the variation of that color here with a little bit of blue and a little bit of the darker areas to dry first before you approach that. And again, remember, we're going to let a lot of the ink do the work for us when we get to that part, when we start doing the drawing. Probably a flatter brush might do a better job here. But for the areas that we already put down, some brick texture. Super detailed with anything. Again, because we're creating an illusion. Alright. Now I'm going to go ahead and address this base for the ink, I should say. So again, let some of the texture happen with your brush when you're putting the marks down. Go right on top of the marks that you've already put down. You kind of want to pull those branches out. Alright. With that, I'm going to say that texture to indicate the leaves. And if we start doing this in the dark area, we really have a little bit more control. The texture that I'm making here, just kind of put in your name and you can make a comment, a suggestion, or ask a question. So of course there's all different ways that I think I might have mentioned this last week. A lot of the drawings, it's okay to have a line that's broken. It's also just fine to have a line that's not perfectly straight. Making kind of some detailed marks. A little goes a long way. This mistake comes when you try to put just two in the window sills. I kind of painted these lines out last week. It doesn't have to fit exactly with what you painted. You can add lines. Remember, this can be a little loose as well. The roof is kind of an enigma. You have those things where you're not really sure how you're going to handle it. And kind of like what I'm doing, indicate maybe some bushes or some plant life that's a little further away off in the distance there behind the house. The second reason is I don't want to detract from the job that the watercolor paint is doing. So I'm going to kind of put a little bit of the tree texture on. Just a little bit of an indication of contrast between the bottom of the fence. Alright, so this will bring us to the end of the two-part series.